going? I'm great, thank you.
Good.
I'm going to do a couple quick announcements to start, then we'll do an opening statement for you.
Okay, cool.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us at today's practice day. We'll get started with Coach Musselman in a couple of seconds. A few reminders before we start. A recording of this press conference will be available on the NCAA Digital Media Hub. For those of you joining us on Zoom, please make sure to raise your hand and we'll get to your questions as we're able to. Transcripts will be provided as well. We're going to start with an opening statement from Coach, and then we'll turn it over to you for questions.
Well, first of all, I'm surprised my picture's not up on the wall anywhere in here. Just kidding. We're totally excited about being here and being a part of the Sweet 16. Had two games that we really had to compete and play at a high level. Excited about the challenge of playing tomorrow night. Have incredible respect for Gonzaga, obviously, and we got one more day of prep the rest of the afternoon, and then we're playing.
Questions? We'll go up here in the middle first.
Coach, I think back to some of the handwritten letters that you shared with us from your mom from some different games since you've coached at Arkansas. And now that she's going to be here in person and see you coach the Razorbacks for the first time, do you anticipate a little one-on-one chalk talk with her?
Hopefully not at halftime. No, but it'll be really cool to coach a game in front of my mom. She was able to come to obviously games in Sacramento and here, living in San Diego, but it has not been the case to get to Fayetteville, and so I'm looking forward to it. She's flying in today, and it'll be awesome to be able to coach in front of her, and my son's flying up with her from San Diego, so that's a really cool personal thing, although it's way more about the players and student athletes and their experience playing in a Sweet 16.
And then obviously a lot of attention put on Holmgren and Timmy, but I'm curious your thoughts on Gonzaga's backcourt and the impact they've made this season.
Yeah, we can't just focus on one. Obviously, their point guard, Nemrhard, he's such a special player. He's got great size. We played against him at Nevada when he was at Florida. We actually recruited him hard when he transferred. He's got great court vision. He does a great job of catching deep, long outlet passes. He's incredible pitch-ahead passes to shooters like Bolton on the wing. Gonzaga just presents a lot of problems, and that's why they're being talked about as far as being a team that's going to advance beyond this. There has not been much talk about Arkansas, which they deserve it. They're the #1 ranked team in this tournament. And so we have to play our A game to beat a team that's seeded #1 in the entire field.
We'll go over here. Please remember to state your name and affiliation when you ask Coach a question.
Okay. Hey, Eric. I'm Bob Holt, the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. I think you know that, though. I hope your shoulder's feeling better. Hey, I know we've talked about this before, but you had such an amicable parting from the Warriors. I just wondered if you, and it seemed the people there still talk very highly of you. Why was your parting so amicable? Why do you have such a good feeling about the Warriors? And then how much better a coach, as good as you were then, how much better do you think you are now? How have you evolved as a coach?
Well, I know I'm a lot better. I probably knew 1/100th of what I know now. But just the experience in the Bay Area, the crowds, for the Warriors, even then, when we were a non-playoff team, was incredible. After I got fired from Sacramento, I came right back here to be a dad and live in Danville. It's kind of funny, but I would go to 24-Hour Fitness in San Ramon and wear my Warriors gear, even though I had been, let go a few years before. Raymond Ritter, Eric Hausen, a lot of the people that are new even, I'm friends with. And I just have whenever there's management change in the NBA, fortunately for me, I got to live it with my father. And so, there was management change, and then soon to follow is going to be the coach. And I still talk to Gary St. Jean, actually one of the houses we bought in Danville. His wife, MJ, sold it to us. even though Chris Mullen was the one that took over for Gary St. Jean, our sons were always playing against each other in AAU ball. My youngest son, Matthew, at the University of San Diego, that's where Mully's daughter went. First year, their freshman year, they hung out all the time. So I think just understanding that, maybe it wasn't completely the wins and losses, and there was new management and they wanted new direction. But certainly the first year with the Warriors is gratifying coaching that I've had. I had fun, loved the guys, although when Gilbert Arenas is young, there's always going to be, some wacky stuff going on. But it was a great experience, and I feel fortunate to have coached an NBA team at such a young age.
Question from Jeff in the middle.
Yeah, Jeff Ferrata with the San Jose Mercury News. Eric, sort of following up on that, just can you talk about what it's like for you to be able to come back to the Bay Area?
I think it's really, Jeff, it's difficult with tickets. One of my cousins, Chris Anderson, that I basically grew up with, he's been one of my best friends. When I had to send him the link to the Arkansas ticket office, and he's like, what are you talking about? I'm not one of the guys that just gets a ticket from you. It's been really cool. I have a bunch of people coming to the hotel later this afternoon, and we have downtime at 4 o'clock today. Just so many friends. I mean, it's to come back and be able to play here is, the day that I was either fired from the Kings or the Warriors, to think that I would be coaching in a Sweet 16 in the Bay Area. If anybody would have asked me that at that particular time, I would have told them there was zero chance, not 5%, not 10%, but literally zero chance of that happening. But I guess, the world has a funny way of working itself out, and it's a cool experience for my whole family, especially my two sons.
Question from Janie up here in the front.
Hi, Eric. Janie McCauley from AP. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
How'd you get your hands on all those hats? Did you have an assist from an equipment guy, maybe somebody almost as great as Eric Hausen, to get your hands on all those hats that you had the kids wear? And what sort of sparked that idea?
Yeah, I can't divulge my resources. But we, when we went to Buffalo, I wanted to talk to the guys about, some of the stuff. Like, we went to Niagara Falls, and obviously I went to the Bills facility, and we actually talked about, NHL hockey when we were in Buffalo. We talked about a particular goalie that played there. Just trying to have fun, educate the guys. One of the players didn't know that the Oakland baseball team was actually called the Athletics, and wanted to know what that meant and how it turned into the A's. So I went into a history lesson about Charlie Finley, and went into a history lesson about the uniforms and the colors, and Billy Martin managing them. I don't know if they listened or heard anything I said, but I think that's part of our job is, we're going to have a little tour later today of the city and get on a trolley, and I think that's part of the experience. And I've said it in past interviews, it also helps me from overloading them. If we're touring the city, it's one less film session, one less putting pressure on the guys. And so I think it's healthy for us to be able to do stuff like that.
Question to the right here.
Austin Getz, KQTV. Very few teams have played as well in one half as Memphis did in their first half game against Gonzaga. Is that a set of film that you put an extra eye on, or maybe pick up something that they were trying to do for success against your matchup with them?
Yeah, I mean, certainly we've watched, not just, Gonzaga's first two games, but we've watched a lot of games, talked to a lot of people on the phone. Weirdly enough, I went to San Diego, which is in the same conference, and so I watch this conference whenever I can. And if they're ever on TV, it's always Gonzaga. It's not San Diego, Santa Clara, I promise you that. So Gonzaga's always on playing somebody in that conference, and so I've seen them play throughout the year a lot. But what Memphis, every team's got different strengths and weaknesses, and we saw what Memphis did, but they, like I said, have a little bit different personnel than us. And every game takes on a different theme and has its own storyline. So I don't think that we can actually, other than looking at a few things and maybe changing a few wrinkles on things, which we've tried to do, we got to kind of be who we are too.
Question on the left.
Hey, Eric, Scotty Borderline with WholeHogSports.com. You guys' transition defense was pretty solid in Buffalo, but given the pace that I guess Gonzaga plays, where do you kind of place the importance of getting back defensively, communicating, and doing your best not to get cross-matched?
Well, Scotty, it can't be pretty good. It better be great, or we have no chance. The pace that they play at's incredible. Their wings run hard. They got a rim runner. They got a great trail guy. So all those factors become important. You have to guard the three-point line on the catch, maybe before the catch because of the pitch ahead, because of the deep outlets. You know, you got to be physical on the rim runs. You got to be physical on the trail man. So there's a lot of important factors. Communication becomes really important for any team that runs and any team that plays with great pace. You know, point and picking, finding your man. Because it becomes of the utmost important. There's always going to be cross matches whenever you play a team that runs like they do, which puts a further importance on the defensive communication.
Go to the right over here.
Brenna Green, Crum 2 News. Coach Musselman, you talked about the fact that not a lot of people are talking about you guys in terms of this matchup. Do you talk to your team about that? Do you kind of let them marinate in it? Just what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, they're going to hear us. You know, when we do a film session, there's stuff spliced in on what people have said, 1,000%. I don't mind, you know, conveying that. We understand the respect factor for us in this particular game is kind of non-existent from a national perspective. So, yeah, our guys are going to see it, hear it, all the way up until tip-off. Again, the respect that we have for Gonzaga is through the roof, but you know, we have a 40-minute game that we've got to try to figure out how we can play with them and give ourselves an opportunity.
Question on the left.
Coach Steve Sullivan with KTV. Do you sit down dreaming, thinking that one day this team's going to just light it up shooting, as you know, to the point where you really struggle, but you do enough to win, but there's going to be that day that they aren't this kind of poor shooting team?
I just dream we make one sometimes. But we've, for us right now, toughness, defense, and really we've made shots when we've had to. It's been a really unique team in that aspect that when we need to go on a 6-0 scoring spurt and make 2 deep threes, we've kind of found a way to do that, obviously being 17-3 in our last 20 games. And you look at the competition that we've played against, when you play against, Kentucky and Auburn and at Tennessee and at Alabama, and 2 of the 3 losses have come by a combined 5 points. I mean, we've talked all year to our team about, how do you win the race from November to March? Meaning, how do you win the race of being an improved basketball team? And I think we've improved and won that race as much as anybody based on who we've played down the stretch of the season. And now it's a 40-minute game, and certainly making shots, Sully, becomes extremely important, not just for us, but every team in the tournament that's left. Is you've got to have shot-making ability in order to advance when you're down to 16 teams.
Got time for 3 more questions. We'll go to the back middle first.
Dana O'Neill with The Athletic. You're talking about kind of the touring, having some fun with your players. A lot of coaches come in here and talk about this should be a business trip and yada, yada, yada. Do you look at this, is that a you decision, how you would treat any team, or do you do that specific to this team because it will work for them to kind of ease off the pedal a little bit?
Yeah, Dana, I do it based on experience. If anybody thinks that they sit up here and say it's a business trip, and that they think they're preparing more than us, watching more film than us, or have a more intense practice session than us, then they're fooling themselves. Nobody prepares harder than what we do, and more importantly than our players do. You could quiz them on anything, and they know every opponent inside out. They know every option offensively that a team's going to run. It doesn't mean that we can stop them. But through experience at Nevada, I thought I put way too much pressure on our team the last year. I look back at it. I regret it. We didn't celebrate wins. We were ranked in the top 10 for 17 straight weeks. We got to the NCAA tournament and played Florida, and I thought that, you know, one of the most regrettable years I've ever had. I tell the Martin twins that all the time. I wish we would have had more fun. I wish we would have embraced being in the tournament. My wife reminds me all the time, because I would come home after wins and be miserable because we only won by 10 points and our fans thought we should have won by 15. And this team has had an incredible year. So we are going to celebrate. We are going to make it a business trip as well. But while we're doing it, we're going to make it enjoyable as well. Again, just based off experience.
Last two questions. We'll go to Joe up front and then Ron.
You already touched on some of the emotion of being back here, but how aware are people that there's a state championship in your family as well from this part of the world?
Well, Joe, just to look out and see so many familiar faces like you is after a lot of years. But yeah, there is a state championship in the family with Michael Musselman and Monte Vista winning a huge game, and obviously Matthew playing at Monte Vista, and like I mentioned, you know, the familiarity with Mully's kids being a part of it. And, you know, I spent 3 years starting an AAU program, and those same kids that won that state championship, I had them from 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So really, really cool experience to be able to go out. After being a 2-time NBA head coach, which my wife said I thought I married an NBA coach, and she's retrieving basketballs at Sycamore Park for 6th graders. I don't think that when we got married, she thought that that was going to be in the cards for her, but I would never trade hanging out, you know, with my sons on a daily basis, and then being able to coach them. And the funniest story of that, we were 71-0, and we lost a game against the Sacramento Yellow Jackets. And I looked at the father, who was my assistant coach, Dean Salinas, when we lost that game in Sacramento, and I said, that's the last time I'm coaching an AAU game. And that's a true story. We lost the game, and that was it. I never coached that group of guys, of young men again.
Last one to Ron.
Hi, Eric. Ron Krychik from the San Francisco Chronicle. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Ron.
Have you ever been in this building, first of all? And then, unrelated question, what did you learn about yourself as a coach last year with that Elite Eight run?
Yeah, I've never been in the building. I told our team, this is probably, as we walked in, this is probably the best arena in the world. You know, I was able to, obviously, went in the weight room behind us. I've looked at suites with our athletic director. I mean, this building, it plays incredible on TV when you're watching a game. I'm sure the enthusiasm in the building tomorrow will be, you know, maybe unmatched from a tournament standpoint. Everything about this place is insanely positive. And then as far as what I've learned, you know, from last year, you know, last year was the same type. You know, if you look at the timeline of our particular team, we got blown out at LSU. We had incredible 2 practices before we went to Alabama, probably based on our practices. We got blown out at Alabama, but it was kind of a turning point for us. And starting off conference play 0-3, it was the same thing, you know. And we were able to kind of regroup and tell our team that, you know, last year we kept talking about, you know, we felt we could be a Final Four team, and we still feel that way. I mean, if I talked to Moses Moody, he'd probably say if we didn't play Baylor, you know, we might have still been playing. And we played Baylor better than anybody in the tournament last year. If you look at the 40-minute game that we played against Baylor, nobody came close to the way that we played against them. We just ran into a team that was better than us. And we ran into a team that last year was the best team in the country. And you look at the teams that are here right now, I mean, the 3 teams take away us, all 3 of them could win a national championship. That's how good this particular pod is, or region, whatever. I mean, these 3 teams are really, really good, which is why it's going to be awesome for the fans here to watch the level of competition that's here. So,
Thanks, Coach.
thanks.
Yeah, and then COVID. I don't know. All right, everybody, we have our 3 student athletes from Arkansas here, Adis Tony, JD Note, and Jalen Williams. We'll open up for questions right away. Here.
You're supposed to tell us, we're supposed to identify ourselves. I know you guys know who I am, but Bob Holt, Arkansas Democrat Gazette. I guess this is for each guy. I don't know if Eric told you this, but his mom is going to be able to see him coach at Arkansas for the first time because, it's harder for her to travel to Arkansas. You guys obviously made that possible by winning in Buffalo. I just wondered maybe what each of you think about Eric's, helping Eric's mom be able to see him coach at Arkansas in person.
I think that's really cool, just being able to get his mom to the game. I know for me, my parents come to each one of our home games just because we're so close to where I'm from, but that's really cool that we were able to make that happen for him.
Yeah, just to go off what Jalen said, just anytime you can have your family at the game, that's always a blessing. So for us to be able to play out here to get his mom to the game is a blessing.
Yeah, it's a blessing for him to be able to come back home and have his mom to come to his game instead of watching on TV. I know what the struggle is, how I feel to watch a game on TV.
Question from Janie up in the front.
Hi guys, Jeannie McCauley from Associated Press here in the Bay Area. Has Moses Moody told you guys at all about this, playing in this building? And Eric said coming in here, he said, this is one of the best arenas in the world, maybe the best arena in the world. What is it like kind of walking in and getting acclimated here?
It felt amazing, honestly. I watch a lot of the Warriors games, so just seeing the arena on TV is look crazy. So just being in there, it felt amazing.
Yeah, for sure. It's really cool. I'm actually going to text Moses after this to talk to him, but it's just cool being in the arena. Like, me and JD were talking and laughing like we were 10 feet behind the three-point line. We're like, Curry be pulling up from here. We just talking and laughing about stuff like that, but it's really awesome to be in this arena.
Question in the middle.
Hey guys, Jordan Black, 4029. I actually spoke to Moses on Monday, and so this is for all of you guys. He said one of the things he likes about this team is that everyone does the dirty work. Nothing is too big for you guys. Do you agree with that sentiment, and is that something you guys carry with you as a strength?
Yes, I feel like each and every one of us have each other back. We just going to go out there and leave it on the floor, whether they're just getting 50-50 balls, passing it to an open teammate, having his back if he get beat. So I feel like all of us just connected.
Question from the right here.
Jalen, Billy Witz with the New York Times. Can you describe just where you kind of learned how to be so good at taking charges and just kind of how that, I don't know if it was here or before you got to college, and who's the, is there one out that sticks in your mind as being particularly painful?
I wouldn't say really my dad is really the person that taught me how to take charges. He just taught me how to be in the right position, and I've really just been taking them my whole life from like as long as I can remember back in AAU basketball, Boys and Girls Club basketball. So I've been doing it, but now of course it's on a bigger stage, so people are starting to see it, and I mean I wouldn't really say they hurt. I'm kind of used to them by now, so it's just something I do.
We'll go to the left for a question, then we'll go to a question on Zoom.
Hey guys, Scotty Bordelon with WholeHogSports.com. Audis, first, you get tough defensive assignments just about each game, so I'm pretty sure it's probably not hard to get amped up for a game, but is there anything in particular or anyone in particular who maybe fuels your fire a little bit before the game?
Nah, not really. I just have that mindset coming into every game. You gotta give it your all, no matter where, and any possession could cause a game, so I just try to lock in as many possessions as we can just to get the dub.
We'll go to a Zoom question from Christopher.
Hey, this is Chris Heidel from Herbert from Radio in Baltimore. Congratulations on making it to the Sweet 16. You're taking on Gonzaga tomorrow. What is one thing you guys have to do to control that game so you can back off Gonzaga and move on to the Elite Eight?
We got to get back in transition. They're one of the fastest team in the country, well, the fastest team in the country. They score most of their points in the transition, so if we don't get back, then we really don't got a chance. So I feel like we got to get back in transition.
We'll go to the back middle for the next question.
Hey there, this is Lane Higgins from the Wall Street Journal, and I know you guys have a couple of games, hopefully, ahead of you that you're focusing on, but now that this is the first year that there's NIL, and after the tournament we're fast approaching April 15th and tax filing deadlines, is that something that you guys have thought about at all, or have you filed taxes for your NIL deals?
I mean, it's something that we got to do, but right now I'm focused on the game that's going to be ahead of us. So, yeah.
Do you even know what sort of forms you need to get?
I mean, I have people, or I've talked to my mom about it, and I have people that's going to help me with mine.
Thanks. We'll go to the right over here with a question.
Brenna Green, Crumb 2 News. This is for Jalen. Obviously, Gonzaga's backcourt is pretty well talked about. Just what is it like for you to go into a matchup and know you're going to be facing two of the best posts in the nation?
Yeah, they have really two good guys playing at their big spots, and it's a challenge, of course, but I'm ready for it. It's great to be able to play on this stage against those great guys, and it's a challenge I've been looking forward to, and I'm ready for it.
Next question from Janie.
Hi, guys. Again, Janie from AP. Eric was just up here saying that during his time at Nevada, he didn't necessarily enjoy things, even a 10-point win. He wished it had been a 15-point win or along those lines. And going around and touring cities like you did to Niagara Falls and going on a trolley car today, how much does that balance out the basketball pressures? He said it takes away an hour of film that he could be making you do.
It's nice to do things like off the court just to get your mind off the game and basketball in general. Because we always, like he said, we always doing film, we always doing something involved in basketball. So he tries to balance it out enough for us to just to relax, rejuvenate, get back, regroup. But it's amazing to do things like that just to get your mind off.
Got time for a couple more questions. We'll go to the middle here.
For Aldis, last game when you guys won, Coach gave you the plaque to kind of put on the board. Can you take us back through that moment, especially given that this is your first tournament, and what that was like for you?
It was amazing. It felt like no other. I always seen, growing up, watching other team members and stuff like that, putting their name on the plaque. So just for me to be able to do that for my first time, it was amazing. It's just a moment I won't forget.
We'll go back to Bob with our final question.
Gosh, I appreciate you remember my name. Hey, this is maybe for each guy since it's the last one. Eric was just in here talking about everybody's focused on Gonzaga. They were in the title game. They're the #1 team in the country and all that. And you guys aren't getting a lot of respect nationally. How do you feel about all that? Does that put a little extra fuel in your fire, or just how do you feel about that?
I'm pretty sure I'm speaking for the whole team when I say this. Like we've been going against this the whole year. We started off the season not great, and we kind of just fought back throughout the whole year. We played against teams. We played against the #1 ranked team in the country. We played against great teams all year, and we kind of been that team that just kept fighting, kept proving people wrong. So I feel like we're at the same stage. We're finna do the same thing, and we're just gonna keep fighting regardless.
Jalen, he kind of summed it up.
Thanks, guys.